Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. So I'm finally here at the day where I can plant my garden. We're at April 30th, which really for here is a little bit earlier than normal. Our average last frost date normally runs about Mother's Day. So in some years I have to wait another week or so before I can plant. But looking at the extended forecast, I think I'm good to go. We're supposed to have days in the high 60s to mid 70s, nights high 40s to mid 50s, and different days of rain. So that's looking good for me over the next couple of weeks to get this garden rolling a little bit earlier. I've been chomping at the bit to get there. A lot of different things planned this year, and we'll have different videos on them. But today I just want to go over a little bit with planting your tomatoes. Once you've grown them from seed inside, then hardening them off outside. If you want to check out my hardening off video and tips on planting tomatoes from seed and other stuff, I'll put a couple links below if you want to check out those other videos I've done here recently. But once you got yourself a tomato plant that you've grown from seed and you've got it used to being outside, it's been hardened off, and you're past your last frost date, now you can put that sucker in the ground. Some people do a lot of different additives when they plant their tomatoes. They might put crushed eggshells, a whole egg, crab shells, Epsom salts. There's a lot of things that I know different people do. I don't do any of that because I used to, but really, your garden soil, if it's been taken care of, should have all the nutrients that your tomato needs to get going. Now, if you want to have a soil test done or get one of those soil test kits and do it yourself, you can do that, and then if there is something lacking, a nutrient lacking in your soil, then purchase whatever you need to fix that problem. But in general, especially in the US, your general garden bed soil should have pretty much all the nutrients that it needs in it. So buying all this other stuff isn't necessary. But when you're planting tomato, it's just digging a hole in the soil. I'm fortunate enough that I've got a Angora rabbit that provides us with tons of rabbit poop and litter. And over the winter, I will put that here in the beds, make a layer, and then I top it off with some good garden soil, which I get it's a 50-50 mix of topsoil and composted or leaf compost, organic leaf compost. So it's got a lot of nutrients already. Plus, there's the dirt left over from last year that already has nutrients in it, old mulch and stuff. In a couple of weeks, I'll add mulch to the top of the beds to hold moisture in and keep weeds down. Although if you're doing a raised garden bed, you really don't probably have to do a whole lot of weeding to begin with. I've got these cattle panels or hog panels. I think there's a small difference in size or whatever. I'm not sure which ones I have, but this is what I use for my trellising. Works excellent for tomatoes. Once they start growing up, I can just tie them up a little bit, and it gives them plenty of room to grow and really strong support. So when you're digging or when you're planting your tomato, you just dig a hole, right? Get it deep enough and wide enough to fit your potting soil and your plant in there. And the cool thing about tomatoes is that unlike a lot of the other plants that you put in your garden, the whole stem will put off roots. So you can plant these pretty deep, and the stem itself will start putting out roots the deeper you plant it. So you see here, got your stem. I don't know how it comes up on the camera with the lighting out here, but there's all like these little hairs and stuff on here, or they look like little hairs. This will all put off new roots. And so what I end up doing is, before I plant, I'll pinch off these couple of these bottom leaves here. Get rid of those. Now we got this long leggy looking thing, right? And I'm gonna try to bury it down pretty far. And later on, I'll probably even prune more stuff up away from the ground as the plant grows. But just for starting off, Now I've got this long stem that I can get down in the ground, and it will put off roots and give it a much stronger support system for your plant, especially for like these indeterminate types. This is a Cherokee Purple, which will just keep growing until frost or disease kills it off. So let's get these in the ground. All right, so first step is just getting your hole deep enough so you can get that plant down in there. And give it enough room to add your potting soil and everything so you're not wasting any of your dirt. And then what I tend to do is I'll spray it, get a lot of good moisture in there. It's all going to soak down in there. Get my tomato plant out of the pot. See, we got all kinds of good roots in there coming through. Soil is not too tight, too loose, so we know it's not root bound or anything like that. And I'll just tuck it down in there. And push the dirt around it. We're good to go. And you see how, and you can see how I've got the stem down pretty far. I've got, you know, probably 2-3 inches here, maybe 2 inches above the soil. And eventually I'll come back and probably even clip some of these off, because I like to leave my tomatoes with no leaves that are touching the ground. That can cause more potential disease as water splashes up and stuff. So as the plant grows, I'll trim off some of the bottom branches as it goes. But really, that's all you need to do to get your tomatoes started in the ground. Have them close to your trellis area. I use these cattle panel trellises. And it's good to have any trellising that you're going to use set up beforehand, because if, you know, you've planted your plant and it's started to get established, and then you start jamming stakes or whatever you're using down in the ground, you know, you could damage some roots. So I always try to have my trellising set up first. That might be a little bit harder if you're using tomato cages. If you're using a tomato cage, you know, plant your plant and then put the cage down around it the same day that you plant it, and then it will grow up inside. So I'm gonna get all these tomatoes in now. Today I'm putting in some Cherokee Purple, Chadwick Cherry, and Dr. Wyche Yellow. All of these are indeterminate. So that means that they're just going to keep growing until either a frost or a disease kills them off. So that's, you know, that's why I make sure I've got these cattle panels set up earlier, so that I've got plenty of room for them to grow and be able to then tie them up as the plant grows and gets bigger. So I hope that you are in an area where you are starting your gardens, but some of you up north might still have a few weeks to go. So hang in there. We're almost there. You know, but I hope your gardening so far this year is going well. But whatever's going on in your neck of the woods, I hope it's going fantastic for you. And, you know, if you have any questions or comments about planting tomatoes and different things that you do for additional success as you go along, feel free to comment below. But thanks for hanging out again with me today. We'll see you again soon. Namaste.